studio to have this conversation with us. Deepak, good morning.
Good morning. Morning. Good to see you. Good morning.
For joining us.
Thank you.
Now, this matter of Mmesoma, it pits some persons against each other, despite she coming out to say that, I actually manipulated my result and all of it. Her father came out to say, well, she didn't open up to me in time and all of it. But it was good to see that JAMB itself stood its ground to say that our system is foolproof. The template she used was the one we last used in 2021. The one we're using now is something different, and they brought out the details out there. But for you, what do you make of all of, this matter that went on, especially if we're looking at addressing matters of cheats, malpractices in examinations?
Well, I mean, the entire episode was quite unfortunate and very much so unnecessary. At 2:49, I was trying to pull up some data online from JAMB. I couldn't get it to know what percentile she fell into at 2:49. But if you look online or even talk to anybody, they will tell you anything above 200, between 200 and 250 is a very good enough result.
Yeah.
So it was very unnecessary. But I'm quite happy that JAMB was able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that wasn't the case, that it was doctored. Because what a lot of people do not understand is when we put the credibility of an institution like JAMB into question with regards to conducting examinations, it has a ripple effect that we do not understand. For example, if in this particular case, JAMB was unable to satisfactorily prove that the result was doctored, this would have been the implication. So you have somebody that scored 97 over 400. You have a lot of them that scored under 120 come out to join a class action to say that that wasn't their result. And I'm trying to figure out how many people wrote JAMB this year. And mind you, it will not stop at 2023, because there are people who will tell you that they've been writing JAMB since 2020, and for some reason they've been unable to gain admission, and they will say JAMB is responsible for it. They will sue them for damages. They will sue them for the number of years they were unable to gain admission. So it was going to cause a very serious issue, which unfortunately a lot of people didn't see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But for me, another thing that I found shocking was how it quickly degenerated into ethnic conversations, which for me it was very unnecessary. And even with all the confessions and statements and all the proof that has come out, certain people have refused to move ground on their particular stance. And for me, it does then talk about our value system, because we have that conversation here every other time. And so the question then becomes, do we really want a better society? Because now the focus should be to see how we can get this young lady into some form of system where she is counseled, where there's rehabilitation, and of course there are consequences as well. Because where there's no consequence for an action like this, lessons will not be learned. So it is something that we must look at critically and see how, as a people, we can jointly come together to see how we can stop this issue of examination malpractice. Because, I mean, we know of it, special centers and all of that. With her saying that she did it by herself, I'm not particularly sure, but that's a statement on record. But we do know today that for other types of examinations, there are special centers, and interestingly, there are parents that pay for those special centers. So what does that say about our society? But I believe that when there's a deterrent, or where there's an example made of this particular instance, and other special centers are also exposed, that we will have a huge decline in the patronage with those kind of places. Because what we find is, I mean, if you speak with lecturers in the university today, they tell you, oh, people in 100 level, you give them a simple math test, and a lot of people flunk it. And then they're asking themselves, did you pass JAMB? Did you pass WAEC? Did you even go to secondary school at all? Because these are basics that you ought to have learned from GS3, SS1, and then you're in 100 level, and then you can't do anything. So these are the issues, and then you have people get into university, and then they have serious problems, they have serious challenges. So it's not just about society at large, but the individual itself, because We keep complaining about the quality of graduates that we have, the quality of people that we have in the labor force. But this is where it starts from. It's where it starts from, where you don't know where you're supposed to know to get into higher institution, and then you also wiggle your way through the system, and then you come out, say you're a graduate. I mean, you need to... I was having this conversation with someone, I believe, 2 weeks ago. If you want to know the quality of the education we get at the higher institution level in Nigeria, go to the NYSC orientation camp, day 1 and day 2, during the registration. 1, 2. Go to the banks, go to their customer service desks. Then you will know how literate or illiterate our graduates are. With regards to NYSC orientation camp, you have people who are there that cannot write their own names. I am not joking, I am not exaggerating. You can have somebody from NYSC here before the end of this week to confirm or denounce what I'm saying. These are things that they see time and time again. We're sure of, we're aware of these letters that people write to get redeployed. There was a tweet made, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, where a guy said, I don't know what year he said, that he was able to make 100,000 naira because he was helping people write that letter. I mean, letter for redeployments. My name is XYZ. This is my number. I want to redeploy because I have social condition or for this particular reason. A graduate that has passed through a higher institution cannot put that together.
Well, that is even just by the side. We've even seen instances where memos from ministries in some state governments come out and then, my God, is this a letter, an official letter written by an official of government from one ministry to another ministry or one MDA to another MDA in the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the 21st century?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
So this is where it starts from. So until people understand that this particular situation has a larger effect on society, we will keep being sentimental about issues and then complain every other day with the quality of service we get in the private sector, the quality of service we get in the public sector, the quality of service we get from every other place. Because this is the foundation, this is where it starts from. And it's not necessarily going about people being educated within the four walls of a classroom. No. It is about the value system. Because when the value system is right, it does inform certain types of behavior, certain forms of character. So until we are able to get that right and agree on what those standards are as a people, we will keep having these challenges.
But just like you said, this whole Mmesoma issue was generally very unnecessary. The way we made it, and you know, that thing. Of course, originally has nothing whatsoever to do with where she came from, what tribe she is. It has nothing, absolutely, exclusively nothing to do with it. But when you saw the reaction of some persons from a certain, part of the country feeling that, oh, JAMB is doing this because she's this, she's from here and she's from there, and then comment from people here and there who felt they needed to defend her, they needed to, and it still talks about the issue of the value system you talked about, but how do we get rid of that? Because it seems everything in this country now, especially from the last election, it seems everything that happens now, we need to find out what your name is. Is your name Ade, or is your name Abubakar, or is your name Chibuzo, as the case may be, which is unfortunately very unfortunate.
Unfortunately, like you said, it's unfortunate. So I'll start with unfortunate.
Yeah, of course. It's
unfortunately, how we now see everything through ethnic lenses. I don't know. I really don't know how we got here so soon and so sharply. Because, I mean, what we know ourselves to be as Nigerians is we're very accommodating. Nobody cares if you're from where you're from.
Exactly.
As long as, okay, we're Nigerians, we have common interests, we want to get something done, we get it done. Today, we have a lot of people, and I tell you, a lot of people, who on Twitter like to brag that, oh, okay, I supported this particular party for the election. Somebody from this other party came to me for employment. I found out, and then I denied them employment. I denied them this opportunity. I was able to help them to pay their rents, their school fees. I denied them. People come out brazenly to brag about that. And For me, it is quite unfortunate because I believe that it does show the quality of persons that they are, and they're just using this particular.
But these things are even happening within the country.
Yes.
When a Nigerian
gets treated badly
in Ukraine comes up as the best. In fact, there's a video going viral of a female Nigerian student graduating in China as the best student, giving the graduation speech
in Mandarin.
In Mandarin, and everybody in the country is so proud. Oh, Nigeria! Nobody wants to know where she's from. Originally Nigerian. What tribe? But she's Nigerian. So why is it so difficult for us to have that thing within the country, whether you're from Sokoto or you're from Maiduguri or you're from Akwa Ibom or Benue, whatever the thing is?
I really don't understand what the challenge is, but this much I would say that the current administration have a lot to do in terms of unifying the people. And I said this here a couple of weeks ago, that, okay, I think on another platform, that we have so many things that unite us. And interestingly, and unfortunately as well, most of those things today are challenges. So we have a lot of challenges that unite us. So it doesn't matter where you're from. We have the same problem. Okay, so how about the government look at critical issues? And I believe it was when we were having a conversation around the principal officers of the National Assembly, and I was asked what should be at the front burner. And then I said they need to look at making laws that unite Nigerians from a solution-based level. Because now we have common challenges and we have common solutions. Because when we're able to understand that we are from the North Central, or from the Northwest, or from the East, or from the West, we have the same problem. So either we like it or not, we're in the same boat. But when the same solution comes, then we can also embrace each other and say that, oh, not just the fact that I won, you won as well. So we won as Nigerians. So we can then shake hands and embrace. So until we understand that, either way you look at it, we're in the same boat. Okay, we're in the same mess. We need to have the same solutions that will unite us. We will not be able to move forward from this. But importantly, I mean, like, people like to say that there's something called the American dream. And then people ask, what's the Nigerian dream? And then people say, it's for you to have 2 cars, duplex, be able to travel for summer, and other things. It still comes down to that particular thing because people underestimate the power of an idea. And there's a movie that says that an idea is like a virus. Once it takes hold of the mind, it consumes it entirely. You cannot get rid of it. For example, if I say, do not think of an elephant, what do you think of right now? Yes, so that, ironically, you think of the same thing you say, so the government needs to be able to, because, I mean, we do say it has to come back to the government because they have the widest reach in terms of the power of influence they have over the entire nation. The private sector can only do so much. But I believe that they should be able to see how they can craft programs and policies to see how it will make the lives of Nigerians better and see how, most importantly, it will unify us. Because either way we like it, we cannot move forward if we are this badly divided. And unfortunately, the lines of division are there and they are getting wider. They're becoming a gulf, becoming a serious vacuum that we cannot afford. And we cannot say that we have these challenges or that we are Nigerians and then we cannot move forward as a people and then complain outside when we get treated badly. It doesn't work that way. We have to pick a lane. So, and it is important, it's really just important that we have to be united as a people and see how we can move forward with one identity. And that identity is that we are Nigerians.
Right. Let's get back to this matter of Mmesoma and how we can address this issue of malpractice, exam malpractice moving forward. You mentioned earlier that you're not certain that she did this on her own. Recall she's 19.
Yes.
And that at that age bracket, these persons seemingly have a mind on their own and they explore at that level with different things. And even people discovered that there was a JAMB phone app that people could manipulate their results on and put it out. Whatever result or score you want, you can just generate it out of that app. And sometimes you send these children to school and the person that returns is a totally different person. Individual. Because her father came out to say that she did not open up to me. So he was just supporting everything that she was saying. How do we begin to address perhaps the minds of young people to understand that integrity is key and that you can make something out of your life by not necessarily dabbling into issues like this. I recall that even the highest scorer, 360, actually comes from the same state. At the end of the day, yes, from the same state. In fact, people have gone out to say that thank God that she came out from the same state, that it would have been worse. The conversation would have been worse. But I think we need to address the minds of young people to understand that integrity is key.
Yes, and I believe that's a responsibility for all of us at a societal level, because what they see today is people getting things they aren't merited for. And they see people cutting corners, getting the best of things. I believe it was 2017, December. I was listening to a radio program on my way back from the island. And some people were sharing their experiences with how they have these fraudulent people around in their neighborhood. And then a young man called in, practically in tears, said, because he has a young kid, that Sunday he came back home because, I mean, he'll have to leave for work very early, come back very late. His son will be asleep. And then Sunday they got talking, and then he said that he prefers Uncle So-So-So's car to Daddy's car. And he likes Uncle So-So-So because Uncle So-So-So is typically around to maybe buy him ice cream, give him things, and all of that. His father has a legitimate job, is working for someone. Uncle So-So-So is an internet fraudster. The child doesn't know that. So these are the examples, unfortunately, that young people have out there. And, I mean, they have a lot of people who are their older siblings, whether to first class or whatever degree, whatever qualification, from higher institution, have trouble getting a job. Some of them get jobs, and it's what we say it's not befitting for the level of education. And then they're asking themselves, so if I go to school, is this then going to be my fate? No, that's why I think it stopped now, but some time ago they had a slogan where they said education is a scam, or school is a scam, or something along those lines. Because so far, as a society, we haven't been able to deliver adequate results to frame our argument, to say that integrity pays, getting an education pays. This is what it gets you. These are the doors it opens for you. Unfortunately, the people they have as role models are people who are into sharp practices and do things where they have to cut corners to get things done. Because somehow, those are the results they see. Because either we like it or not, and what life answers to, so they don't get to publicize the implications. And they don't also get to see the implications a lot.
Even besides that, the point there is, it's when they qualify the end of education in the issue of getting employment and having money. Because the point there is, education is not just about the issue of getting an employment and then getting money.
Yes.
The point there is, some of these young people, they stand in public, they can't address 3-4 persons. They cannot.
Yes.
You can't hold an argument for 2-3 minutes.
Yes.
Without either falling off or resorting to either insulting someone or confronting someone.
Right.
But this is what education builds you up.
Yeah.
Where you have an idea, you believe in something, you have a good understanding of an issue where you can stand and talk to people about certain things.
So they haven't understood the value of education.
So the point there is, when you talk about issue of education, so I'm trying to buttress on what you said earlier. Yes. I think there's a musician who used that in one of her lines or something, whether education is a scam or something, and then young people just lashing onto it, and then the issue of education, the end point of education should just be making money. So they feel that if I'm making money, then what's the point for education? They don't know even that those who are not educated, who have made money, rely on those who are educated. To help them run the entire system that they are running.
Unfortunately, those aren't the things that are mostly publicized, because now everything is in our faces in social media. I mean, 20 years ago, or 25 years ago, all we could read was, I mean, when I was a lot younger, I used to read Chicks and Company at the back of, forgot that newspaper. So that was all I used to pick up in a newspaper then, Chicks and Company. Yeah, so I mean, those are, back then we didn't have people who took out full-page adverts to say that, oh, I bought a car. Now you're on Instagram, you see somebody, oh, I bought a car, I bought a shoe, I bought a bag, and
some young person bought 2 cars on the same day,
Yes.
and is flaunting it all over the place.
yes, and then the person is like,
cars on
oh,
the same day. Wow.
the person is 21, yeah, I'm 22, what is going on with my life? And so these are the things that we're seeing out there. Interestingly, the people that are actually putting in the work and don't really see the need to also publicize it. And their priority isn't to say that, oh, I'm hard at work, or I was able to close this deal. That's not what their priorities are. But in some cases, and in some quarters, we're having to encourage a lot of people to also freely tell their stories. Because until we understand that, until we're able to communicate an alternate narrative, the narrative that we are complaining about will always prevail until there's an alternative for people to consume. So if people who are doing the legitimate work do not sound the trumpet as loud as they can, and the people who aren't doing the legitimate thing, I mean, we all know of Hush Puppy and his crew and all of that. He was in everybody's faces every other day. That was, and I would say that part of the reasons why we also had the boom of internet fraud in Nigeria could also be traced back to him, because somehow he was showing this lavish lifestyle, and a lot of people suspected.
He became a role model.
He was a role model. He was practically patron
people.
saints to them. So a lot of people suspected that, oh, maybe that's what he was doing, and okay, if that's what he's doing and he's able to achieve this, then maybe they can give it a try. But unfortunately, if we're not able to communicate that hard work pays, integrity pays, doing the right thing at the right time pays, we may not be able to set these examples for these young people that we're talking about today.
Now, talk to us about of course, like Veronica mentioned earlier about the recommendation for her, counseling and all of that. But beyond that, a crime remains a crime.
Yes.
And in the eyes of the law, if you committed a crime, you must face the time.
Yes.
One day this is forgery and is criminal as far as the law is concerned. And some persons have said that she needs to face the wrath of the law that is commensurate to her age bracket, as the case may be. In fact, she took the shine off her of the original person who became the highest scorer, Precious May, as the case may be. But for this that she has done, beside the issue of going for counseling because she's a young person exposed to all of this, and all of that, she needs to be prosecuted as well.
I agree with that, and I'm going to say a couple of things that may seem a bit controversial, but just hear me out. Yes, I do agree with it that she has to be prosecuted on some level, because, like I said, an example has to be made, and we already talked about the far-reaching consequences of things like this going unchecked. But I would say that from a legal perspective, that even if she is prosecuted and found guilty, that it shouldn't be along the lines of maybe jail time and any of that.
What should it be?
Yes, so this is my personal recommendation. Because we also need to look at the fact that, one, she's a young person, has a future ahead of her. How about we look at something along the lines of community service? JAMB already said that they banned her for 3 years, so she can't write JAMB. So that means for the next 3 years, she can't gain admission to the higher institution. So what can she then do with her time to ensure that she has some level of productivity in it alongside the counseling? How about a lot of hours of community service?
Well, but that recommendation is just a recommendation.
Yes, it is just a recommendation.
But the point there is that if you look at there are bands, specified bands of punishment for different kinds of crime.
Yes.
Now, a crime of forgery is a criminal offense.
Yes.
Where if you're talking about community service for a criminal offense, they may not go side by side, but we can leave that to the discretion of the judge or the lawyers or the court, as the case may be. But the point there is that there are prisons for I'm not saying she should go to prison, but I'm just saying that there are courts, juvenile courts, that are prison for young people at that age, as the case may be. So if we're saying some persons who may not have made the limelight commit a crime, you should go to jail, but in her own case, we should give her, community service. Then
with this service,
exactly. Then
so I understand. Yes. So quickly, I understand that it may come off as a double standard. But however, you also know that in the court of law, there's such a thing called leniency.
On what ground would there be leniency for?
Oh, well, that's for a legal team to do. But my own concern is that as much as we're trying to make an example, we don't throw away the baby with the bathwater.
Okay, that's fine. We'll have to leave it here now. Dikbo Oyewole, strategy consultant, public affairs.